It is time for the World Cup. Overwatch 2018. So, if you didn't know, quarterfinals start today for Overwatch World Cup. I made a video about this about a month ago. We've been waiting for so long, and now it's finally here. BlizzCon in all its glory, and we got 8 teams left. There were a bunch of teams in the beginning of the World Cup. They went through their group stages. We already covered that, so we're not going to talk about that. We're focusing on these 8 teams and their quarterfinal matchups. So, 4 matches. The first one, we got United States versus United Kingdom. After that, France versus Canada. Then China versus Finland. And then South Korea against Australia. So, also on each side of the bracket, Canada and France are playing each other, and then the winner of that plays the winner of Finland and China. So then for US, UK, the winner will play the winner of South Korea and Australia. So, and then obviously the winners of the semifinals play in the finals. Those are going down tomorrow. Today the matches start at 2:15 Central Time, 3:15 Eastern, 12:15 Pacific, etc., etc., and then they go up until it should be about like 10:30ish, depending on how like the matches go, and like if any of the matches go to 5, because if they go to 5, then it'll be a little bit longer. And that is Central Time. So, and then tomorrow, starting at 9:30 Pacific, 11:30 Central, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. They'll have both of the semifinal matches, then the bronze medal match, so the losers of the semifinals will play, and then the gold medal match, of course, will conclude matters. So, in terms of format, it's pretty much the same. If you can watch it on, I'm sure Overwatch League will probably have it like a tab on their site. You can watch it on Twitch, you can watch it on TV if you go to ESPN3 or Disney XD. Quarterfinals, semifinals, and bronze medal match are going to be best of 5. And the grand final will be best of 7. That is the only one that is different. That's very similar to what they did last year. And all maps will be playable. The first map starts on Control, so it will be Nepal. It's predetermined for each match, so they'll be on either Nepal, Lijiang, Ilios, Oasis, or Busan. And then, starting with the second map, the loser of the previous map gets to pick. For the second one, they have to pick a hybrid type, though. For third, it's Assault, which is 2 CP. And then fourth is Escort. And then if there is a fifth, they go back to Control, but it cannot be the same Control map as the first one. So if they play Busan the first one, then for the last one they get to pick Nepal, Lijiang, Ilios, or Oasis. So that's pretty much the format of it. Pretty straightforward. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So first we got US versus UK. So running through the rosters really quick. United States, they have Space from the Valiant, Raucus from the Houston Outlaws, Sinatra from the San Fran Shock, Muma from the Houston Outlaws, Zachary from a Contenders team, Fusion University, Moth from San Fran Shock, and Hydration from the LA Gladiators. So, as you can see, they're all from Overwatch League teams except for Zachary. He's on a Contenders team. When he does come of age, he will very likely be on an Overwatch League team. For the UK, they have Fusions from the British Hurricane. They are a Contenders team. They have Smex from NRG Esports, Contenders team. They have Boombox from the Philadelphia Fusion. They have Cruz from Contenders, Toronto Esports, but he is reportedly signing with Paris for Season 2 Overwatch League. Mikey A, also from Contenders, British Hurricane, and Kib, who is also from the British Hurricane, and KSP rounds out their roster. So, who do I think is going to win this matchup? Well, as you can see, it's a lot of Overwatch League players versus a lot of Contenders players. UK does have some Overwatch League players. They finished second in their group. On paper, this matchup definitely would be in favor of the US. They looked very, very strong in the group stage. I'd say that this meta suits them pretty well. They are a versatile bunch. From Sinatra can play a bunch of heroes, Hydration can play a bunch of heroes. You have Raucus, who is a godly Ana, and Ana is coming into meta, so that's nice for them. They got Space, who's a beastie on Diva, as well as Zarya, so you have some options there. This team is pretty freaking stacked. They lost last year in the World Cup. They lost in the quarterfinals in a very close matchup to South Korea, and they are going to be looking to go. They're going to come out and be ready to punch someone in the face, and unfortunately for the UK, that someone is them. I think this one starts very well for US. I think they crush first map, then they do win the second one. Then I think that UK will probably bring it back and win a map before US closes it out. I'm going to say 3-1 on this one. UK is a pretty good team, but they just don't really match up just from down the whole roster. I just don't really see them having much of an advantage in any of the matchups. They also, what was interesting, they did their main tank for the group stage was Christopher, or Chris TFer, I guess. This is how he kind of emphasizes it, the T and the F are capitalized. But he got taken out, and Fusions got put in. He's going to be their main tank. Probably because he's also on British Hurricane, and they have two other players from British Hurricane on the roster. So they're looking for a little bit more cohesiveness and synergy when it comes to that. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I think that that probably won't affect him too much early on because he has played with a lot of these guys before. But like I said, top to bottom, this is just US. US is going to win this. They're not going down in the quarterfinals this time, and they're going to be moving on. So the second match of the day is the one that I am most excited for. It's France versus Canada. Now, looking at these rosters, they are stacked with Overwatch League talent. So for France, they have Soon. He was of the LA Valiant. He's now going to Paris. Unko from the Dallas Fuel. AKM from the Dallas Fuel. Poco from the Philadelphia Fusion. Wins, who was on a contenders team before. He's up in the air right now, but there are rumors that he might get signed to Paris, but we don't know. Ben Best, he's signed to Paris. And Nico, he's also signed to Paris. So, a bunch of Overwatch League players in this one. A bunch of them have played, basically all of these guys except for Ben Best and Poco used to be on a team years ago called Rogue, which was extremely dominant. So, they have extremely good synergy. These two teams this should be the closest matchup of the quarterfinals, and easily the hardest one to predict. In the other three quarterfinals, one team definitely has an advantage on paper, but this one, I mean, France has all that firepower, but now let's look at Canada. They got Surefour from the LA Gladiators, Agilities from the LA Valiant, Mangachu from the XL2 Academy team. They are a contenders team. They have Bonnie from the Houston Outlaws. They have XQC, formerly of the Dallas Fuel. They have Crimzo, who played for Team Envy and Contenders, and Note from the Boston Uprising. So, again, it's stacked. Everybody on their team was either on a contenders team or was on an Overwatch League team. XQC is not on a team anymore, but he was. So, Canada, they went to the finals last year where they lost 4-1 to South Korea. It wasn't that close. They're going to be looking for revenge. They're really, really stacked. On paper, I would give them the advantage over France, but this meta is good for France. They've proven very adept at running GOATs and some other comps that are similar, that are good right now. You have Poco, who's a flex tank god, but Note is very, very good as well. So this one could go either way. I have a personal preference towards the Canadian team. And they've had success in the World Cup before, so I think I'm giving them a slight edge in this one, but it could honestly go either way. France has such good synergy. They all really like each other, and they've played together for a long time, but Canada has played together in the past as well. I mean, they have so much firepower in their DPS. Surefour and Agilities, that's nuts. Those are just two gods. And then when you talk about XQC, he's one of the best main tank players in the entire world. And like I said, note Crimson or Crimzo. Bonnie is one of the most underrated supports in the Overwatch League. So this is a flip a coin. I am going to go with Canada because their past success in the World Cup, I think, will give them a little bit of an edge, and I think they have a little more firepower. And I really like their coaching in Jane. So I'm going to say 3-2. This is definitely going to be the closest match yet. But I'm going to go with Canada 3-2, and maybe a little bit of an upset. I don't know. Moving on to the third one, it is China versus Finland. So China, they have Crystal. He's from a Tier 1 esports club, I believe, contenders team in China. They have Guxi. I'm going to slaughter some of these names. But from VDEDGaming, a contenders team. They have Yveltal, looks like that Pokemon. Contenders China team, Lingan Esports. They have Sky, formerly of the Shanghai Dragons. They have Late Young, who's from a China contenders team. They have Leave, who has been linked to some Overwatch League teams, and Shy, who is from a contenders China contenders team as well. So this team performed a lot better than a lot of people thought that they would. They took second in their group stage. They're kind of, I would say they're probably like the Cinderella of this little tournament, and they are playing against Finland, who have Fraggy from the Philadelphia Fusion, Zappis, formerly of Florida Mayhem. They have Shaz from the LA Gladiators. They have Big Goose from the LA Gladiators. They have Linkser from the Houston Outlaws, Taimu from the Dallas Fuel, and then Davin, who is from Contenders European team, Team Giganti. So, Finland's pretty stacked. When I was looking at the rosters leading up to the World Cup, they were the team. I knew South Korea would be stacked. I knew USA would be really good. I knew Canada would be really good. But they're the ones that really popped out to me, and I was like, wow, this team is like kind of low key, really, really good. And I think that they're going to win this. I think that they played South Korea very, very close. They're pretty much a fight away from winning their matchup against South Korea. I think they have better synergy than I would have thought. Having two supports that have played with each other for a very long time, and Big Goose and Shaz, is a big advantage for them. With the Reinhardt meta, Fraggy is absolutely flexing on people, and you can't. Zappis, I think, is underrated. He kind of got a bad rap when he was in Florida. He didn't play much, and when he did, he wasn't very effective. But he has proven. I thought he might be the weak link, but in the group stage, I thought he played very well. And then obviously you have Linkser and Taimu, who that could be an issue because they're both very hot and cold players. If they're both hot though, then this team could easily win the whole World Cup. But if they go cold, they could get bounced even by China. But I think that they will play at least well enough in the first part of it. I think Fraggy's honestly going to kind of carry in a lot of these situations because of his Rhine prowess. And I think Finland wins this one pretty handily, 3-1. And the last one, South Korea versus Australia. So South Korea, bunch of firepower. Fate from the LA Valiant, Fury from the London Spitfire, Fleta from the Seoul Dynasty, Libero from the New York Excelsior, Jonak from the New York Excelsior, Amano from the New York Excelsior, and Carpe from the Philadelphia Fusion. I mean, they got all-stars all over this roster. Jonak and Amano are another support duo that has played together for a while, so that's another nice advantage for them. Jonak was the MVP of the Overwatch League Season 1, so that shows how good he is. Fate, very, very good. Fury, extremely good. I mean, this whole roster, top to bottom. Libero's a flex god. Fleta, he was the MVP of the league for the first stage and a half. Carpe, most consistent, best Widowmaker in Overwatch League Season 1. So, yeah, they are absolutely stacked. And then when you look at Australia, this is another team that maybe, along with China, they'd definitely be like the underdogs of the tournament. They have a lot of contenders players. Trill from Blank Esports. They have Punk from Darksided. They have Huss from Blank Esports and CKM from Blank Esports. Those are all Pacific contenders teams. They also have Yuki from the Dark-Sided organization. They have Akron, Akraken, yeah, Akraken. Also from a Contenders Australia team, Sydney Drop Bears. And then they have Custa from the LA Valiant. So they do have an Overwatch League player, Custa as a main support. I assume he'll probably be playing a lot of Ana, but Trill has really stood out in the group stage for me. He played extremely well. Huss as well, but they're going to face a very, very tough task in South Korea. A lot of people think South Korea will destroy this one, but I think that Australia will keep it decently close. I've been saying this for a while now, but I think this current meta is probably South Koreans' least favorite. South Koreans, they really, really liked dive meta, and you could tell they were very, very, very good at running it. But with these more tanky comps, I don't think they're as comfortable. You saw teams like the New York Excelsior in Overwatch Season 1, Overwatch League Season 1, try to kind of stay away from Reinhardt, and I don't really think you can do that in today's meta. I think you have to use him. I don't think you have to use him as much as some people are, but you do have to use him a lot. He's very good on a lot of different maps. So they're going to have to see. We'll see what kind of performance Fate has. I thought that they should have had Fissure playing on main tank the whole time, but they've stuck with Fate, and we'll see how that goes. Again, I think Australia, kind of like China with Finland, I think they're going to give them a much better fight than we would have thought. But I do think Korea wins this one 3-0. I think that this will be the 3-0 of the day. But I think that at least the first couple maps will probably be close. I think Australia will put on a better show than a lot of people would expect. But in the end, it's going to be South Korea going on to the semifinals. So I'll probably make another video tomorrow, like actually predicting with the last four, whoever they are. But I will say, if my predictions hold for the first four, U.S. versus South Korea, I honestly will take U.S. From what I've seen in the group stage, what I've seen leading up to this, I think U.S. is in a better spot. I think they're very, very well coached. I think that they're extremely comfortable in this meta. They're really hungry for a win, and they have the talent to do it. I mean, Hydration is an absolute beast. Sinatra's inconsistent, but sometimes he plays like an absolute god. Same thing with Muma. His Reinhardt play is really good or really bad. And Space is quietly one of the best players in all of Overwatch. So I think that USA now has the firepower to take on South Korea, and they have a better grasp on the meta right now. They're a little more flexible throughout their roster. They have really, really good strategies, which help them beat Canada on the group stage, and I think that they'll actually pull off that upset and go to the finals. And then if Canada matches up against Finland, I like Canada because of their flexibility in DPS and just the DPS matchup. I think everything else kind of washes. I'd say that Finland probably has an advantage in supports. I'd say tanks are kind of a wash, and then I give DPS to Canada. I think that Surefour and Agilities can throw more looks at Finland than Taimu and Linkster can. Their hero pools aren't nearly as big, so I think that will give Canada a slight edge in taking them down. And I think it's going to be Canada-USA, if I'm totally honest. I think it's going to be those two. And in the matchup, in this, USA won 3-1 when they played originally. And I like USA to win again. I never thought I'd be saying that I would predict US to win the whole thing. But with what they've showed me in the group stage and what I know about their players and what I know about their coach, I just really think that this is their year. It just feels like it's their year. I think they'll take down Canada 4-2. Canada will keep it close. They'll definitely take a couple of maps, but I don't think their synergy is quite there. I don't think their coaching is quite as good as USA, and I think that they'll come up a little bit short once again. Yeah, I said it. USA World Cup champs 2018. I know, it's crazy to think about. They'll probably vote XQC MVP again, but if they don't, if there's actually a player, it'll probably be Jonak if South Korea really pops off. It'll probably be Sinatra or Muma if the US wins, because they're the most popular players of the team. Maybe space has a chance though. But yeah, let me know what you think below. Do you think that I'm crazy here? Do you think Korea's gonna win? Do you think Australia's gonna win it all? Do you think France is gonna win it all? Let me know. And yeah, make sure to watch some Overwatch World Cup this weekend. It's gonna be awesome. So hope you have a great couple days. I will probably see you tomorrow talking about the matches that happened today. I do have a tight schedule tomorrow, but I will fit it in. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.